But it really is more than nostalgia, as some of the things that I mentioned, the factors that are coming together. We think it's going to be economics and business that are driving this. And as we've moved forward in this, we've started engaging with some of our local business people in Eau Claire, and as well as throughout our region. And we're finding out that it is important to business to be connected to this. And it's my pleasure now to actually turn a few minutes of the program over to one of the leading organizations in our area, a company called JAMF Software. I guess I can go to your first slide, but Nick Amundsen is the Director of Research at JAMF Software, which is headquartered here in Eau Claire, but is a worldwide firm. And Nick's going to tell us why his company has gotten on board and is interested in this issue. Would you welcome Nick Amundsen?
Thank you, Scott. Yeah. So like Scott said, we're kind of a unique organization. I think I heard the comment earlier that everybody's doing software these days, and software companies are unique, but there's a lot of similarities to traditional business as well. One of the things that we have that's unique is we do have workforce scattered around the world. So like Scott said, we've got two buildings, one in Minneapolis and one here in Eau Claire. This is a picture of our new Minneapolis location we just moved into. But I want to focus on a couple different aspects here. Moving people around and moving specifically employees, partners, and customers around, because it's all three of those that we really deal with every day for a sustainable business. And I'll start with the employees. So some of the statistics that we've got up there, about 200 employees that we've got in each office in Minneapolis and Eau Claire. So naturally there's a lot of movement between just those two offices, but we have around 530 employees around the globe. So 130 of those are scattered in other areas. We have some remote locations in Hong Kong and Amsterdam and Sydney, but we have a number of employees that just work out of their office every day. So an important aspect you can kind of glean from this is that employees can really work anywhere these days, especially in the software industry. We do a lot of collaboration over the computer. So when we are traveling from office to office, there's frankly other things that we can be doing with our time, right? So that's where the Back to the Future play comes back into the picture, and that the younger generation here has a preference to spend their time differently. They don't necessarily want to be driving behind the wheel of a car. There's other ways we could be spending that time, either for leisure or for business purposes as well. But a couple of things that we use that travel for. So employee recruiting, definitely a big aspect of it. Employee onboarding, daily meetings that we have. I go over to the Twin Cities about once or twice a week, so pretty often, especially when you have these snowy days like today. You want a safe way to be able to get there. But on average, we're doing about 5 or 6 vehicles per day between each building, so quite a bit of travel here. Another interesting aspect of our organization is anytime a customer buys our software, we go on site and we install it. So this is kind of employees going out to customers, and we've got about 2,000 new customers that we add every year. So that's around 40 to 50 of these happening every week. So employees from Eau Claire, Wisconsin, going to, this is actually a picture I took in the Bering Straits, Alaska. As you can imagine, even just that first leg of getting from Eau Claire to Minneapolis is just one aspect of the really big trip there, and to make that easier and more accessible really makes for time savings as well as dollar savings to the organization. Right? Another thing that we do with customers is we bring them in. So every year we have an annual conference in Minneapolis. We would love to have it in Eau Claire, but we need more accessibility to be able to do that. Last year we had around 1,750 people from all over the globe coming to Minneapolis for this conference that we hold. 22 different countries, 5 different continents were represented in that, and we would love to be able to take them to Eau Claire. And some of those customers are just so interested in what we do that they hop in the car and they drove over to see the Eau Claire office for a day. But we would love to actually hold an event like that here in Eau Claire. And you can imagine the economic multiplier that would have in Wisconsin. Right? Another aspect is training. So even on a regular basis, we hold training courses both in Eau Claire and Minneapolis as well, where customers are getting trained on how to use our software. So once they get introduced to it, they kind of get up and running. We have about 320 courses that we hold annually for customers to be able to better learn certain aspects of our software. And then last but not least, partners. We have partnerships that we've forged with Apple and IBM. So again, we're traveling out to those partners, and they're coming to see us quite often as well. It's very important to not just have that virtual presence where we're collaborating over technology, but also to have the face-to-face meetings for important business decisions that we make as an organization. So with that, turn it back over to Scott.
Yeah.
What type of software do you manufacture?
This is where everybody will probably glaze over. It's called device management software, but to put it simply, any organization that purchases a large number of devices, so like schools, government organizations, or businesses as well, we help kind of keep track of where those devices are. If an employee loses one, we can wipe the data so that important emails won't get intercepted and things like that.
Do you have commuter transportation out of the airport, or is that great?
We do utilize the Eau Claire Airport as often as possible. I personally utilize it as much as I can, but in some cases it makes more sense to fly out of Minneapolis. But certainly when we're going to Chicago, that's very nice because we can have a day trip. We can make that happen. But as much as possible, we would like to have better accessibility to Minneapolis, not just for our office, but also for the airport.
We have 2 flights a day to Chicago on United Express. That's our air service.
What's the rate? What's the cost?
It's about $300 per round trip.
It's like flying any other time. It depends.